I hate watering in Stardew Valley. I know, it's a farming game, but I don't like having to spend most of my time and energy watering hundreds of crops by hand. So naturally, I love the sprinklers. But if you're anything like me, the default sprinklers leave something to be desired. They do help with energy costs, but they just kind of look rough with that cross pattern. It doesn't make pretty farms. The quality sprinklers, however, are leagues better for crops watered and layouts. So I had an idea. What would it take to get quality sprinklers by the first day of summer? In this video, we look to determine just that. Also, if you don't like math, then skip to this part of the video. So our first goal is to look at how much XP it would take to unlock those quality sprinklers. And for those of you that don't know, every crop you harvest gives a fixed amount of farming XP. And to get to farming level 6, where quality sprinklers are locked behind, we have to gather 3,300 farming XP. Not to mention the material cost, but we'll get to that later. One problem at a time. I put together this handy table to show the different prices and XP rates for each crop available in spring of year 1. Remember, we only have 28 in-game days to do this, so we have to find a crop that gives us the most bang for our buck. If we look at this, we can see that the most XP from a single crop is cauliflower with a whole 23 XP, while tulips round out the bottom with 7. So the answer is cauliflower, right? Not quite, because it takes 12 days to grow. The most we could get is about 2 harvests out of our season, with 4 days left over. What we need to look at is how many days it takes for the crops to grow, and also the amount of XP it gives, or the XP per day ratio. If we look at this little stat, we can see that kale is our reigning champion at 2.84 XP per day, and that's for one single crop. And the previous one we were looking at, cauliflower, is at 1.92, which is actually lower than parsnips, the starting crop. Alright, so we have a contender, kale. Let's see if this leafy boy is up to the task. Sitting at 17 XP per crop, in order to hit our target of 3,300, we would need, let's see, 195 kale. That's a bit much. If we divide that over the 6 harvests we can get out of this season, we're looking at about 33 kale every planting cycle. That is a lot more manageable. But can we even afford it? At the start of the game, we only get 500G and 15 parsnip seeds, or 150G if we sell them back to Pierre. The price of kale seeds is a staggering 70G apiece, so we would need 2,310G before Pierre's shop closes on day 1 to consider planting them on the first day. Maybe a more cost-efficient route would be possible? If we look at the ratio of how much seeds cost versus how much XP they give, and combine them with our harvest time data, we can see that potatoes might be the ticket. They're 20G cheaper than kale and give slightly less XP at 14. We still get the same number of harvest out of them, so let's see. If we run the same equation we used for kale, it comes out to 2,000G. It is cheaper, but we'd have to plant more crops each harvest. I think with the data that we've collected here, that we can kind of find a route that will get us what we need. So we have an idea for some fairly decent crops to go for to get to farming level 6, but let's take this a step further. I don't just want them unlocked on the 1st of summer. No, I want a couple in my pocket already, so when it comes around, I won't have to water a single crop by hand after that. So let's go for 10 quality sprinklers. This adds yet another challenge to our goal, because in order to make those, it requires 10 gold bars, 10 iron bars, and 10 refined quartz. Iron and quartz aren't too difficult to get, but the gold is another story. We have 2 options. Either we make it to floor 80 in the mines to collect the gold manually, or we spend 20,000 G on it at Clint's. With the notes we have and all this info, we can form a plan, and it goes something like this. We start out on day 1 with grabbing our parsnips and clearing some land. Sprinkler guy didn't come to mess around, so we're going to run through this pretty quickly. Once that's done, we use our remaining energy to cut down enough trees to make a chest. We will not spend money on a backpack upgrade for quite a while, so we need storage at home. Next, we head to Pierre's to buy the rest of the seeds we can get and talk to Carolyn, but that will come into play later. We plant the parsnips and collect forageables for the rest of the day. We even managed to fish up an anchor on the beach, netting us 100G on the first day. On day 2, we head to Willie to get the fishing rod after watering our crops, and spend the rest of the day fishing at the mountain lake. From what I can tell in spring, the mountain lake offers the most consistent income thanks to the largemouth bass being fairly common and easy to catch. We end the day with a profit of 1395G, not a bad start. Days 3 and 4 are spent mostly fishing and talking to Carolyn when she isn't hiding in her house from the rain. I know it's a Wednesday, Pierre, but please just open the door so I can rizz up your wife. We finished the days with 1285 and 1558G respectively. Day 5 was a big day, as that's when the mines opened up. It's also the day that our parsnips are ready to harvest, so we pick those. Oh, and we get a cat that I promptly named Sprinklers. Before heading to the store to sell our harvest, I ran up to the mines quickly to drop a chest and our forageables by the elevator. This is so that we can offload our inventory every 5 floors, thus making sure that we don't need the next backpack upgrade for a while. Then we sell our crops for a decent chunk of change and decide to switch from parsnips to kale, picking up 48 kale seeds. I was worried about the price at first, but I forgot just how profitable fishing was at the start, so with our little bonus of parsnip XP, we should only need 176 before the end of the season. A much more manageable amount over the 400 plus parsnips that we would need if we stick to those. With our kale planted, we headed to the mines, and on the second floor I got lucky and a special slime dropped a wooden club, which is leagues better than our starting sword. I managed to get to floor 15 before the day was over and collected 4 of the 10 quartz we needed. Day 6 was a rainy day, so I cut some trees for a scarecrow and spent the rest of the day 6 and 7 in the mines. We managed to get to floor 30 and got some rice shoots, which I planted. We also made a couple of furnaces to get a start on smelting our copper and quartz. Day 8 was the day I decided to upgrade my pickaxe to copper. We needed to do this because once we hit floor 40, the rocks get harder to break, so upgrading will be ideal to make it down to the gold floors by the end of the season. So after a quick visit to Carolyn, we headed to Clint's. The next 2 days are spent fishing to make up for the cost of the upgrade. We even got our first iridium quality fish on day 9. Day 10, our pickaxe was ready, so with it in hand, we head back into the mines. Floors 30 to 40 are my least favorite in the game. They're so dark, and when I'm in them, I usually don't have a glow ring and don't like wasting torches. My true fears were realized when I got to floor 34 and I could not find the ladder. I was this close to being halfway done with these nightmare floors, and I had to turn back and complete yet another 5 of them. But even with that setback, I made it to floor 40, and I never have to go back to that level. So take that, mines. I'm sorry, please be nice to me. We still have another 40 floors to go. Day 11 was the first kale harvest of the season, so we got to harvesting. Then we went to Pierre's to purchase the next batch of seeds, and of course, talked to the lovely Carolyn. I'm coming for your wife, Pierre. We bought 69 kale seeds, nice, and headed back to plant them. I ended up with 1 extra, and after a closer inspection, I realized that my scarecrow hid one of the spots from me. We're on a strict schedule here, buddy. I don't have time for your games. After the crops were taken care of, we headed to the mines, and for those of you uninitiated, floor 40 is where the iron nodes start spawning. Iron is one of the key things we need for sprinklers. We need to collect 10 iron bars or 50 iron ore to be exact. I made it down to floor 50 and came up with 35 iron ore. Although it would be nice to use all of it for sprinklers, we need another pickaxe upgrade before we hit the gold floors. So I made a couple more furnaces and got to smelting. On day 12, it was time for an iron pickaxe, so after watering the crops, I headed over to Clint's, and just like last time, spent the rest of the day fishing. Some of the rice was ready as well, so I sold that on my way to talk to Carolyn. We ended the day with a little over 2,000 G in fish sales. Day 13 was going to be spent fishing and grabbing the forageables, but I couldn't resist mopping the floor with everyone in the egg hunt. So just before 2, I went to the egg festival. Day 14 marks the halfway point of the challenge, and I think we're doing very well. Our iron pick is ready today, so we head over to grab that. Once that's in our hands, we head back to the mines. I stopped by Pierre's today as well to pre-buy 68 more seeds since our next harvest was going to land on a Wednesday and he would be closed. We had quite a time on one of the infested floors and barely made it out, but still managed to get to floor 55. The next few days are pretty much going to be the same, so I'm just going to glance over them and say anything interesting that happened. Day 15, we got the crystal dagger, the rest of our iron, and made it to floor 65. Day 16, we made it to floor 80 and got a ghost fish to drop. This means we can finally get the rest of the materials for the sprinklers. Day 17, the kale was ready to harvest and we went back into the mines to farm gold. I also stopped at the community center to unlock the bundles since now that we are close to finishing our main goal, I thought I'd see what all I can accomplish with the remaining time. For those of you that don't know, if you're looking to just get ore, you can enter a chest floor like floor 80 and head down the ladder to check for gold. Once it's all mined on that floor, or there isn't any, pop back up the elevator and wait for the in-game time to change. This resets the floor and you can do this as much as you like. We finished the day with all the gold we needed, so now we just have to wait for our last kale harvest. On day 18, I decided to pivot my focus to see what bundles I could get done before summer, so we went to talk to the wizard. I forgot to mention it earlier, but we planted one of each crop for the spring bundle, so we already have that one in progress. Days 19 to 23 were spent mostly grabbing odds and ends for bundles. and making sure our crops were watered. We also grabbed more ore from the mines to upgrade our tools. By day 23, our kale was ready, so we finally hit farming level 6. Quality sprinklers come tomorrow. Not only was this challenge done for fun, but I also learned just how fast you can make progress in the mines. By the end of the season, we had obtained a steel axe, and we got Carolyn's 2 Heart event, which allows us to make tea saplings. These were a last-ditch effort to make money to buy the gold, just in case, but we didn't need it. I also sold the seeds I needed to make them before I got the recipe, so it wasn't happening anyways. We managed to complete 6 bundles, added a few fish, and got the minecarts running. With Summer 1 upon us, we are officially done and have 11,000 G left over to get new crops. This challenge was actually a lot faster to accomplish than I thought it was going to be. I expected it to be very narrow at the end because every time I play this game, I feel like it's just such a slog to get sprinklers going. And once I finally decided to focus on that and make it my main goal, it just blew right by. I really think that if you absolutely put your mind to it, day 23 isn't even the earliest you can get it. I'm sure there's people out there that have gotten it in the first week, but this is what I accomplished. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.